Namaste everyone, my name is Deepthi. Today's practice is going to cater to runners. So we are going to work on our lower body, strengthen the leg muscles and stretch them as well. So glutes, quads, hamstrings, calves, feet, we are going to work on all of them and some core towards the end. I do like to use props. You see a pair of blocks here. They make a lot of poses accessible, although you don't need them. But if you have them, you want to grab them. I have a blanket, so if you have sensitive knees, blanket comes in pretty handy. And I have a strap. So for any kind of bind, where the hands have to go back, or there are other different binds in yoga, this strap can come in very handy. So if you have any or all of those props, go ahead and grab them and we will meet at the mat. You are going to face the top of the mat, come to sit in toe pose. So curl the toes under and set your hips down on your heels. Take a moment to stack your spine. So head, shoulders and hips in one line. We'll start with few rounds of cleansing breaths here along with our shoulder rolls. So inhale, shoulders move up towards the sky. Sigh it out through the mouth as you lower them down. Two more with your breath. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more. And let it all go. Resting the palms on our thighs. Closing down the eyes if they aren't already. Just taking a moment here. Bringing our awareness into the space. Finding our breath. If Ujjayi breath is in your practice, you can begin to channel it now. We access it by constricting the back of the throat. And it has kind of that oceanic sound. Nothing from the nose, so you should feel no sensation around the nose. It's a cooling breath, calming breath. You should feel it at the back of the throat. Wherever you are, just begin to deepen your breath. Maybe finding that space between our inhales and exhales. So inhale, fill up the lungs, pause, and exhaling, pause. Breathing like that for a few more rounds. You should begin to feel some sensation in those feet, or a lot of sensation. If it becomes very uncomfortable, you can just come off the pose for a bit and meet us back here. Take a moment to find an intention for this movement practice, whether it is to find your focus, or you want to build strength in those legs, you want to open those muscles a little, or anything else that comes to mind. One more breath to seal that intention. And blink the eyes open. Just bear with me for a little more moments here. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, twist to the right side. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, we twist to the left. Right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale, arms reach up, gaze forward. Exhale, twist to the right again. No need to extend the arms too much. You can have a soft bend in the elbows. I recommend that. Inhale up. Exhale to the left. Last one. Inhale, lengthen. Do not crunch up the shoulders. Exhale, twist. And up again. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, cactus out the arms. Pause here for a beat. Feel that burn in the feet, hang in there. Another inhale here. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, bring your palms, elbows towards each other. They may or may not touch. Cow and cat. Inhale, open the heart, press those palms back, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, we find space between our shoulder blades. Draw the belly button up. 2 more rounds like that. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale. And last one, inhale. And round. Inhale, come back to neutral spine. We finally get to come out of our toe pose. So come into your table. Hands and knees. I like to give a lot of room to my shoulders. So hands are mat width apart. Knees are hip width apart. And come on tops of your feet and tap, tap, tap to send some blood to those feet. This should feel good. You can shake the hips side to side a little bit. All right. Come back center. If the knees are feeling sensitive, you can slide a blanket under the knees. Otherwise, we'll just begin. Extend the right leg behind you. Keep the hip closed. Inhale here. Exhale, knee to nose. So this is our cat back to make space for that knee to come in. Inhale, flat back. Do not arch your spine here. A very common tendency. Exhale in. Because when we arch the spine here, the leg is able to go higher. So that naturally happens. You don't have to do that. Keep the low back out of the picture. One more. Inhale, extend. Let the glutes do the work here. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, extend again, and then lower the foot down. We're going to kickstand the left foot, bringing that left ankle behind the left knee, and then the right leg extends. Take that right arm up towards the sky, and then bring the right arm up and over. Lift the right leg as high as you can. Inhale here, exhale, elbow to knee. Now in this pose, if the left hip is feeling too much of work, you can slide a block under the left palm. Exhale, crunch. One more. Inhale and exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend again. Bend the knee, and here a strap can come in handy, or you could just grab the foot, or you can just reach the hand towards the foot. Whatever works. One more breath. Release the foot. Come back to your table. Then shake the hip side to side a little. We'll go on the other side. So extending the left leg behind us. Find a neutral spine. Close the hip. Inhale here. Exhale, knee to nose. Push the heart away from the mat to make room for the knee to come in. Exhale, round. 2 more. Inhale. And breathe out. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, extend the leg back again. Lower the foot down. Kickstand the right foot this time. Again, option to bring a block under the hand. It makes the pose much more accessible. We are going to lift the left leg up here. Left arm goes up and over. Inhale here. Exhale, elbow to knee. Point that knee up towards the sky. Inhale, we extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend, and exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend again. Bend the knee, option to bind on this side as well. Push the heart forward, a little back bend, and then try to lift that left knee up towards the sky higher. Feeling maybe something in our left inner thigh. One more breath. Release the foot, hand comes down. We make our way back to our table. We shake the hips side to side and then make our way into our first down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, from our table. So send the hips up and back, and from table usually you have to take 1 foot distance back to find a good down dog. Begin to push the palms away from the mat. Hug those triceps in towards each other, biceps roll forward. And then melt your heart towards your thighs. You want to have a decent bend in the knees depending on how tight or open your hamstrings are. And then as you can see, I'm not making my heels touch the mat, because if I try to do that, my back begins to round. So we prioritize the length in the spine here rather than making those heels touch the mat. Begin to pedal out the legs, feeling the stretch in the back of the legs. This is a challenging pose, especially for beginners. And then wave forward into plank here. Have a micro bend in the elbows, especially all the hyperextenders out there. You want to pay close attention. Never want to lock out the joints here. Lift those kneecaps up, stacking shoulders over wrist. Widen out the fingers and create as much space between the mat and your front body. One more breath. Back to downward facing dog. And when we move from plank to down dog, we usually have to bring the feet forward a little. Bend the right knee and then try to push that left heel down and try to lift your left toes. A common tendency is to move the chest forward, so make sure heart is moving towards the thighs. You should feel a nice intense stretch in your left calf. And for a lot of us, the left toes don't even lift up, but we still feel the stretch. You want to try to lift them up. Other side, left knee bends, right heel presses down, right toes try to lift up. One more breath. And then lower both knees. We'll take our first child pose. Big toes touch, knees widen. Let those hips be in contact with the heels as much as they can to the best of your ability. And then begin to melt your heart towards the mat. Now for a lot of us, the forehead doesn't naturally come and rests on the mat. If you try to do that, your hips might lift off a lot from your heels. So that's the case. Slide a block under the forehead. This should feel good. And this is a pose you want to come to every time you need a break. Honor your body. On the next inhale, lift the hips off the heels. We'll make our way back to our downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Just a breath here. Bend the knees, look between your hands and begin to walk to the top of the mat. Feet hip width apart, fold here. On the inhale, flat back, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. You soften your knees here. Inhale, half lift, nice and long spine. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, arms come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands in front of our heart, Anjali Mudra, and Samasthiti, even stand. All right, I'll face the camera for our next stretch. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, let's take a side bend to the right side. So right hand comes down, left arm goes up and over. We'll move with the breath here. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale. And continue to flow with your breath. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale to the right. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Hinge from the hips. You might want to bring your blocks handy either side of your feet. You might need them. And then plant the hands and step back into your downward facing dog. Take a shorter dog, so you might want to bring the feet in a little closer to the hands. And then lift the right leg up. Inhale, hip is closed, so toes are not facing sideways. And then push that heel up, right heel up towards the sky, left heel towards the mat. Again, a good opportunity to stretch the left calf. Inhale here, exhale, point the right toes, knee to nose. Something similar to what we did in our tabletop. Inhale, although this is more challenging. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg lifts up again. Exhale, knee to nose. Look between your hands, step the foot through. Now at this place, if the leg doesn't come all the way forward, you might want to lower the left leg down and then crawl that right foot forward. If this is pretty challenging for you, you can bring blocks under the hands to find a little lift in the spine, and then slowly stack your shoulders above the hips and take the arms up. High lunge. You decide how low or how high you want to be in this pose, depending on how the legs feel on a particular day. All right, lower the hands down. Hands on our hips, we're gonna tuck the tailbone under. That's gonna bring our left knee fairly under the left hip. We're gonna do some knee dips. Inhale, lower the left knee down, almost touching the mat. Exhale. You keep that knee bent, which means the tailbone is constantly in posterior tilt. Exhale up. Two more. Oops. And exhale up. A little tricky on balance. Last one. Stay here and make sure the weight is not going in your right toes. You draw that right hip back in space so the weight stays in your right heel. Place the hands on your blocks or on the mat and then extend both legs long. We are in a long pyramid. Blocks are extremely helpful here. You can always have slight bend in the right knee. As long as you are pushing that right thigh back in space, you'll feel the stretch in the right hamstring. Press that left heel towards the ground. We want to keep our hips square. So right hip draws back, left hip forward. Two more breaths. Another one. All right, let's bend the right knee again for a runner's lunge. Lower the back knee down. Uncurl the toe. Left hand plants down under the left shoulder. Have a micro bend in the left elbow and then take the right arm up. Make sure right knee is hugging towards the center of the mat. The knee is not splaying out. Keep the neck nice and neutral. Only if the neck feels okay, you turn the gaze up towards the right hand. One more breath. All right, place the right hand on right hip, listen up. Left knee lifts up, we come at the outer edge of the left foot and then right foot comes halfway in. We are in a modified side plank. Now this is one option. You can stagger your feet by bringing the right foot in front of left. You can stack the feet. You can play with balance, whatever works. One more breath. And then make your way into your downward facing dog. So in a typical vinyasa style yoga class, there are vinyasas, which is a combination of 3 movements. Chaturanga, back bend and down dog are inserted in between sequences like this. We are not focusing on that today. All right, left leg lifts up. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, left leg lifts up. Exhale, knee to nose. Last time. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot between your hands. And again, if there's a need to lower the right knee down, if you need blocks, you're gonna take all those options. Meet me here in a high lunge. Tuck the tailbone. Bring that right knee under the right hip. Now, if you feel pretty comfortable with balance, the hands can either come in front of your heart or they can even go up. Make sure you're not crunching the shoulders. The top of the shoulders is relaxed. Inhale, we lower. Exhale up. The weight is in the right heel. So, left heel. Left toes are pretty relaxed. Exhale up. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lower, pause here. Hang in there, feel that right quad working hard. One more breath. And then lower the hands to frame the left foot. We are going to extend both legs long for our pyramid here. A traditional pyramid is usually much shorter, so the right foot is way forward. Just giving more space to our spine, our legs in this variation. Be mindful of where the weight is. There's a tendency to lean into one leg, left leg in this case. Just keep your balance. As you can see, I'm resting the tops of my hand on the mat to give my wrist a little breather here. One more breath. Rebend the left knee, lower the right knee down, right hand plants down this time, left arm reaches up for a revolve lunge. So the left knee has a tendency of splaying to the side. You want to hug it in, engaging those inner thigh muscles. Don't dump the weight into that right wrist. You want to keep lifting up with that right hand. One more breath. All right, same transition. On this side, left hand comes on left hip. We curl the right toes, we lift the right knee, and then left foot comes halfway. And this is our modified side plank. We stay here, or we take all those options that we did the other side. Here, 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 here. Not my stronger side. Today, we'll make our way back to our down dog. All right, bend the knees, look between your hands. Option to hop forward here. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of our heart by our side. Let's close down the eyes here for a moment. You can take this time to have a quick drink, find your focus, your breath, adjust your clothing. Close down the eyes and pause. All right, blink the eyes open. Bring the hands in front of your heart. Let's keep feet hip width apart for our chair Utkatasana. So it's our squat in yoga. You don't go too deep. You want to make sure that the low back is nice and flat, so no arch. You want to tuck the tailbone slightly to engage your core. And you should be able to see your toes here. So you don't want to bend the knees too much where you can't see your toes. That same squat rule applies here. And then lift the heart. So you should not be leaning forward too much. Lift the heart. And then see how low you can go. Option to lift your toes. Option for a balance challenge, coming on your toes and lifting your heels here and sinking the hips down. Get that core working. Feel the heat in your quads. If you lose balance, come right back up. One more breath. And then lower the heels down. Make your way into a fold. And even in our forward folds, blocks are pretty handy. So if our hamstrings are tight and we end up folding only to this point, blocks can come in pretty handy. Knees are always soft in our forward folds. So do not try to lock them. That's gonna round your spine and put unnecessary stress on your low back. We'll come back to chair again. Hands in front of our heart, maybe a lower chair. And this time we'll take a bind. So a strap comes in pretty handy. Let me show you a quick demo with the strap and then we'll show you without the strap. So if the hands don't come naturally towards each other, or if they are like this, you want to use a strap, which means, you know, the muscles in the front are pretty tight and we need something to bring those triceps towards each other. So Even a towel can be used instead of a strap. So you want to grab the strap hip width apart or even wider depending on how much space you need. You want to pull that strap apart and then go into your chair. You can move that strap away from your low spine as much as you can. Again, no arch in the low back. It's nice and flat. I'm gonna let go of my strap. If you have the strap, keep pulling it apart. If you have a regular bind, try to press the heels of the hand into each other. Inhale here. And then on the exhale, fold forward with the bind. It does throw some people off balance. So if you don't feel very comfortable, you can release the hands down. All right, we have a little twist here. Bend the right knee and then bring that right shoulder towards the right knee. Open the chest towards the left side. You should feel work in the outer left leg. Now the same stretch can be done without the strap, like this or this, where the right hand comes down. So know that those are our options. Come back center. I'm gonna go for my bind again. This time the left knee bends, right extends. Left shoulder comes towards the left knee. Weight is in our heels. And we do our best to turn that chest towards the right side. Keep moving the bind away from the low back if you have it. On the next breath, bend both knees and fold here. If you have the bind with the strap or with the hands, bring the bind hands towards the low spine and then release the hands down. Make your way into your downward facing dog. Should feel much more space into your down dog this time after that stretch. All right, right leg lifts up, inhale, and then bend the knee, open the hip. We are basically trying to stack the right hip on top of left without twisting in the upper body. We'll make some circles here with the knee. So knee comes close to the left knee. We go in one direction, we switch direction. And then open the hip and hold, curl the right toes, push that heart towards the left thigh. Feel that work. And then wave forward, step the right foot outside the right hand, lower the left knee down. We are in our lizard lunge. You want to bring that left knee towards the left edge of the mat. Again, a blanket is pretty handy here. We are going to go into a deeper stretch. So go ahead and grab it. All right, we'll go into something called a dragon pose. So I'm going to move my right hand away and show you how to access it. You're going to angle the right foot, say around 30 degrees, and lift the inner arch of the right foot. I'm just moving my hand away so that you can see me. Lift the inner arch of the right foot and then turn the chest towards the right thigh. Push that right hand into the right thigh and twist here. Have a slight bend in the left elbow. Again, not dumping the weight down in the left wrist rather than pressing away from the mat. This is going to give you a pretty nice stretch into your left psoas. If this seems accessible and you feel like you can go a little deeper, you can bend the back knee and grab the foot. Again, strap is pretty handy here. Nice and deep quad stretch. I like to do this after my runs or after any lower body work. One more breath. Unwind. Bring the right hand inside the right foot. We are going to do a little bit of a core work. Lift the left knee. You're gonna round your spine, so a lot of weight in your palms. And we call this reverse knee to elbow. So you're going to lift that right foot off the mat. Push that right knee towards the right tricep. It may or may not touch it. A lot of core work here. And then back to plank. Hold your plank, tuck the tailbone, protract the shoulders, push the floor away. Empty out the belly at every exhale. One more breath. Getting strong here together. Back to your downward facing dog. All right, right foot stays, left leg lifts up. Inhale, bend the knee, and then open the hip. Stacking left hip on top of right this time. And we'll start with those hip circles. Make sure that the chest stays back and this is not happening. We're still in our down dog. Switch direction. Deep Ujjayi breaths. Open the hip, hold here. One more breath. And then bring the left foot outside the left hand. Lower the right knee down. You might want to slide that right knee back and towards the right side of the mat. Uncurl the toes. Pause here. Allow the hips to sink forward. We'll go into our dragon pose. So left foot comes at an angle this time. Lift the inner arch of the left foot and place the left hand into your left inner thigh. You twist here. Option for a bind. I have a pretty thick mat here. That's why I'm able to manage without a blanket. Two more breaths. Unbind. Same thing on this side. We are going to bring left hand inside the left foot. Lift the right knee up. Bring that right foot in a little. Round your spine. Create that cat back. That left foot comes off the mat. Back to your plank. Hold here. Without lowering the knees, can we come into our forearm plank? Puff up the back. Just breathe. Neck is long. Make sure low back and hips are not sagging. Core is engaged. 3 more breaths. Let's do this together. Another one. And then lower the knees down. We'll go into a puppy stretch, Anahat Asana. So you want to stack your knees under the hips. You're going to arch your spine. So think of cow back and then hands as wide as the mat. Begin to melt the heart towards the ground. Lower the forehead down. You might feel the nose getting squished. You can turn the head to one side if that's a bother. Just stay here for the next few breaths. Allowing the shoulders to feel the stretch. The upper back should feel it too. On the next breath, let's lift the forehead, begin to walk our hands towards us and make our way into down dog. Just a couple of breaths here. Bend the knees, look between your hands, hop, walk, step, make your way to the top of the mat. We're going to turn the heels in, toes out, make our way into our yogi squat. Clear out the space on the mat. We will be going on our backs, supine in just a moment. So now, this is not a fun pose for a lot of us. If you feel too much pressure in your ankles or your heels are not able to come down, sliding a blanket under the heels is a great option. I'll quickly show you that. And you decide how thick of a blanket you want, or need rather. So if this much thickness is enough, you stay here. If we feel we need a little more height, you just roll the blanket and come here. Wherever you are, allow the hips to sink down. Let's reach the hands forward. Again, not reaching too hard, right? You want to relax the shoulders, relax the elbows, and then push those inner thighs away from each other and find a lift from the crown of our head. You're gonna feel the legs working. That last push. One more breath. And release. Let's take a quick bind here. So bring the right hand on the floor. I'm gonna face you real quick. Balasana. Right hand comes from the inside of the right leg. Maybe it touches the floor, maybe it doesn't. Left arm reaches up. Option for a bind here, you're going to internally rotate the right shoulder and then find the right hip. And then take the left arm around and find a bind. Again, we can close the gap between our hands by using a strap. One more breath. Release the bind. Other side, left hand comes down, right arm reaches up. Option to bind on this side. Internally rotate the left shoulder, find the left hip, bring the right hand around. Maybe you bind. Once you have the bind, nudge that right shoulder back in space. Turn the chest towards the right side. 2 more breaths. Release the bind and then slowly lower the seat down. We will take a quick boat pose, Navasana. So hands can come by our side. We lift the feet up. This could be where we are going to stay today. If you feel comfortable with balance, hands reach forward. Legs can lift up a little higher too. From here, we'll go into a low boat, slowly flexing the spine. Allow that low back to touch the mat. And then you decide how much length you want in your legs. The more bend there is in the legs, the more accessible the pose begins. It allows the low back to settle down into the mat. The straighter we make our legs, the harder it becomes. So you pick your challenge. 2 more breaths. And then bend the knees, lower the head down. Blanket comes in handy over here as well. I like to support my neck, my blanket. Bring the feet as wide as the mat. Hands by our side. The feet can even come outside the mat. And then windshield wiper the knees side to side. Come back center, slide the hands behind the knees for our Vayumuktasana, windbreak pose. Allow the ankles, the knees to be heavy. Allow the back to melt into the mat. Gentle draw of the legs towards the chest. Option to rock side to side, usually feels good. Just don't roll on to a side too much. From here, we'll go into our happy baby. So I'll show you options. First option is keeping the hands behind the knees like it is right now. And then allow those soles of the feet to be parallel to the sky. Create as much space as you can between your inner thighs. There's a push and pull action here. So the hands are drawing the thighs close to the chest. while the legs are trying to reach towards the ceiling. The important part here is for the low back to be in contact with the mat. If you feel like the hands can crawl up, you can go towards your shins or your ankles, keeping in mind that the low back is grounded, or you could find the outer edge of the feet too. Option to rock side to side here like a happy baby. That's the name of the pose, Anand Balasana. Then come back center. Slowly release the feet down. Let them rest on the mat. We'll extend the left leg long, scoot the hips over to the right side of the mat slightly, and then go into our twist by bringing the right hip on top of left. I like to rest my right thigh on the left leg. Then right arm comes by our side. Right arm can be out in a T or in a goalpost arm. Do your best to keep that right shoulder blade grounded here. Accordingly, find twist in the lower body. Deep belly breaths here. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, contracts. Twists in yoga are considered to release toxins from our digestive tract. Massages the internal organs by constricting that space. Last breath. Come back center, bend the left knee, readjust your hips, same stretch on the other side. Right leg long, scoot the hips over to the left side, stack left hip on top of right, and take your twist. If you feel pretty comfortable in your twist, you can always turn the head over towards the left shoulder. And if the eyes are not closed already, you can close them now. Last breath. Coming back center, bending both knees, drawing the knees to the chest, knees together this time, and wrap your hands around your shins. Give yourself a nice squeeze. Maybe the head lifts up, nose to knees to nose. Inhale here. Exhale, slowly lower the head down. Extend the legs long, right leg towards the right edge of the mat, left towards the left edge of the mat for our final pose, Shavasana. Hands by our side, or they can rest on your belly facing down if you feel the need for some grounding. This is where everything comes together. Feel free to be in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. Make sure when you're ready to come out, you roll onto a side and gently bring yourself up to the seat. I'm truly grateful that you allowed me to guide you through this yoga practice today. I will see you next time. Namaste.